We're live.
You're muted, Steve.
Hey everyone, welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Poikinen. I would like to say hello to everyone listening over on Aftermath FM. Just hit the live button over on the Rockfin. What's up, everybody? On the YouTube, we are back after a week suspension. I will wager we get to keep the channel for about 24 hours. I will tell you why in just a minute. We got a great show coming up today. Lots of stuff going on. I am joined by my better than your co-host, Glory Jones. What's happening, Jones?
Not women's liberation because of the women's march that happened yesterday, that's for sure.
Glory was on the ground at a parade, and we're gonna get into that for sure. We are supposed to be joined by Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone. Haven't heard from him yet this morning, but did confirm with him and had it in the calendar. So we were originally scheduled to have him in at 11 o'clock anyway, so maybe the time got flipped around. If that's the case, it's going to be a short show on YouTube. It was going to be a short show on YouTube anyway, but we were suspended for a week because YouTube had gone back through and found a video that we did with our good friend Ryan Christian, the Last American Vagabond. And they had decided that some of the clips that we had shown of elected officials in their official capacity in the places where they work speaking on record were somehow medical misinformation. So it stands to reason, because the MCSC network main page has a 2-week suspension, because Jason Burmis got suspended, because Allison Morrow got suspended, because Ryan Christian gets suspended from everywhere, that it's only a short walk before YouTube goes, no, there was that other video we didn't like where you showed a Senate hearing, and we're going to have to erase that from the collective memory. Big fun. Let's see. Let's run through the whatnots. The show does have a sponsor. The sponsor of the show is Matrix Bars. Matrix Bars are a psilocybin chocolate bar, 3.5 grams of the mushrooms per bar of delicious chocolate. They've got 3 flavors. They do. They have a Morpheus, a Neo, and a Trinity flavor, and it basically breaks down along those lines. Yeah, it does. It's hilarious. It's a fantastic sense of humor. I dig it. You can get a hold of them by scanning that QR code. You can also DM them on Twitter or Instagram at Matrix Genetics, MatrixGenetix. The show is entirely viewer supported. We've got GoFundMe up. It is in the description. The PayPal and CashApp links are all at Slow News Day Show. Sleepy Josh has a Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Sleepy Josh coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Bort, BORT. We have t-shirts, and you can pre-order them, and they're badass. They are. They're from Truth Revolution Clothing. I'm pulling those up right now, and then I'll go ahead and drop the link in the chatty chat. These are fantastic, and I'm stoked on them, and I can't wait until mine shows up in the mail. There we go. So you can get a couple of different kinds here. There's a front back design. There's these guys, and there's a hoodie that's going to be available, I think, December. And then the sticker pack as well. These things are sharp, dude. They really are. I am stoked on them. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. And it's on that note that we, you know what? I didn't pull this up. I should probably send this to you. Did you see Cop Dozer? Either of you?
Cop Dozer. Like
Cop
a movie?
Dozer. No. Okay,
I don't recall
drop
in this moment.
I'm gonna drop this into the I'm gonna drop it into the StreamYard chat. And there we go. That's not StreamYard. That's StreamYard. This thing is crazy. Crazy. So what I want, I guess you have to click on the actual thing. Hey, you pull it up either way.
Yeah.
But what I would want to see in real life to make this timeline worth it is a face-off between Killdozer and Copdozer. I think that would be awesome if we had a face-off. Do you guys remember Killdozer? Maybe you guys don't remember Killdozer.
Oh, that's what that's called? Hold up, let me share screen.
So that's Copdozer. What you're looking at is Copdozer, Glory Jones.
Yeah, I didn't know that's what it was called. Yeah.
I'm not seeing it up on the share though. Oh, okay, there we go. Woohoo! Come on, Copdozer.
Is it loaded yet, or okay? Yeah, it has.
Now it
play
is.
That then.
From a car, yo, from a car way the hell away.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Copdozer.
Ugh.
Copdozer. Copdozer. So in case you aren't familiar, back in 2004 there was a guy named Marvin Heemeyer who yes, Killdozer. Right. So okay, to sort of set the whole thing up, and then I'll grab a couple of pictures. It was Granby, Colorado, and they had been fining they'd been fining him and his Biz Over City Health ordinances. He kept getting fined and kept getting fined and kept getting fined and kept getting fined, and in his downtime had modified a very large bulldozer. I'm gonna pull up a picture here. I think this is probably a good one. Come here. There we go. So he modified this bulldozer a little special, and then just sort of went through the town of Granby, through cop cars. I mean, just on an absolute rampage.
Like
it really
GTA levels.
Like GTA has shit on Killdozer. Like GTA should have a Killdozer option just to give people a taste.
Oh God.
But
I'm
I'm
like imagining it now. I can already like formulate the cheat that would like automatically get you that, and then like instant 5 stars.
You can probably pull up video of Killdozer in action. You can. But I mean, this timeline isn't worth it unless we've got a fight between Killdozer and Pigdozer. And those little nozzles of tear gas or whatever that thing was spraying, that's not going to work on Killdozer. Killdozer doesn't care about your tear gas. Pigdozer doesn't. That is also eerily reminiscent of the crowd control and riot squad shields in Soylent Green. It really is. They have these like massive people scooping up, like trash dumpster trucks that just collect people and scoop them up, and they take them to the Soylent Green plant because Soylent Green is people. That's a spoiler alert. I apologize.
Okay.
It's a Charlton Heston movie from the 50s. You should watch it, Jones. You'll be like, wait, what? Really? Watch Soylent Green and Omega Man back to back. And just be like, what? I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. Well, I'm really not sure what the hell is going on with the get. Like I said, it could be that he got the time screwed up and we'll be in at 11. If that's the case, what we should do is see if
that's
any
the case. I also
of our stories are YouTube. Huh? Oh, let's do the women's march stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that, and then we can kick it over to Rockfin for the rest of the conversations, because, again, we're fresh back from a week suspension on YouTube, fresh back from that, and YouTube is going on a ban-crazy rampage, just announcing this week that not only are they going after any channel that doesn't cover the current situation in accordance with state narrative, but that YouTube will ban any channel for saying anything that they don't like about any medical product whatsoever.
Jeez. So
as long as it fits the state narrative.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to pull up my thread now, but my computer is laggy as fuck for some reason. If you want to scroll Twitter, that would be cool. So listen, I heard that the Women's March was happening October 2nd, which was yesterday, for it primarily in support of reproductive rights and to oppose the Texas abortion law. So I'm like, you know what? God, I don't know. So I pulled up two marches, the info for two marches. One of them was in West Hollywood. The other one of them was in downtown LA. So I was not going to go to West Hollywood because I heard from a coveted source, Fiorella Isabel, that the West Hollywood one might have more Karens. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'll see how I feel when I wake up. And then woke up the morning of the Women's March, and I'm like, and I see PSL. Like, first thing I see is PSL sharing a post about the Women's March, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's a sign. At the worst case scenario, at least I have like some acquaintances from PSL to talk to, you know. So I get there, and let me hope my computer. I don't know why my computer's lagging so much. Yeah, I know Shadow Band PSL is disappointing, but they got some solid people there. I mean, yeah, we agree on some shit, you disagree on some shit, but yeah, that's how it is. So, let me share screen here, and I'm just gonna show the first tweet of my thread to kind of like give a sense of like the crowd at this women's march. Because listen, I knew it was gonna be liberal as fuck. I knew it was gonna be shit live as fuck. If you could, is it pulled up yet on the stream?
No,
Okay,
it's
there we go.
hamster. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Now. Oh my god, my computer is lagging so much. Hold up. You know, it would be cool if you like let me see where you were going, mouse. See, this is a sign. This is
Your mouse was doing that too? My mouse was doing that on a different page as we were starting.
Let's play. Okay. Let me close out of it real quick. If my
I gotta know. Glory Jones.
What do you
I'm dying
know?
to know. I am. I haven't seen a lot of pictures. I'm not online a lot yesterday. Were there still people walking around in pussy hats? Did you see a pussy? You're holding your head and you're leaning forward. For those of you listening on the radio, Glory Jones is now leaning forward and holding her head as if it hurts.
Steve, from my knowledge, apparently that hat originated from Los Angeles. So yes. Yes. Oh my god. It was like a gut punch. It's like, okay, because I told you, like, I was expecting it to be this way. I was. But I was not prepared for just the pure impact of this because, okay, immediately I get there and the first thing that strikes me is like, is the same thing that strikes me at like every major event, which is like, where the flying fuck were all these people last year? That was like half rhetorical, half response. You're muted, Steve.
I am now unmuted. So I did just get a message from Max. He's setting up. He'll be along shortly. So what I did like out of some of the images that I saw from the Women's March, and we can go back to kicking shit libs in a minute because it's fun, but it's kind of easy.
It is.
What I did like,
yeah.
Hey, real quick, is that I saw a number of anti-mandate, anti-no jab, no job people marching alongside and taking pictures and hand in hand with people with my body, my choice and pro-choice signs. And for those conversations to be taking place, I'm fucking stoked for that. That is a very positive thing for me. Now, hopefully, like, that's a representation of reality. And what we see online largely remains narrative management and just a bunch of ops and a bunch of, you know, fucking troll farms and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like it's like where the hell. Okay, so I wish I saw more of that at, like, you know, Los Angeles, but of course you don't, because it's Los Angeles. But you know, one of the reasons I went is like, hey, listen, like, you know, if I can defend bodily autonomy when it comes to showing up to like these come save us goddaddy Trump powwows, then like I can do the same thing when it comes to, granted it hurts, that I can do the same thing when it comes to covering the parade yesterday. But my God, even the as much as like you know, merch and grifter oriented those come save us goddaddy Trump rallies can get, they still weren't as corporate as the parade yesterday. Because for what it's worth, when I was at that event a couple weeks ago in front of City Hall, like there was a point where me and Ian from Another World View, we were actually able to like walk up to the organizers, because one of their speakers was like spouting absolute bullshit. So we actually went up to the organizers to be like, yeah, your speaker's full of shit and he's a detriment to the cause. You couldn't do that with what happened yesterday, because there was literally like a covered fence and a big ass stage that made sure that for a majority of like the speeches, the speakers were segregated from like the rest of the crowd. And like,
Oh wow.
yeah, and I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna stay to the end of this just so I have a chance to talk with people I don't like anyway, because it was so celebrity oriented. Because I mean, they had one indigenous woman at the beginning to do like a ceremonial kind of like a stolen land acknowledgement, but it felt like really tokenizing just because it was at the beginning, and then like after that, everybody kind of forgot about it and they did it like as a, oh, you know, like token this. And then after that, like all the speakers were so celebrity oriented. Like I think one of them, it was like Raven Simone, it was that valid Victorian from Texas that went viral. It was whatchamacallit? Oh, Alyssa Milano. So yeah. And I'm trying to remember who else. I think there was like a congresswoman there too. I don't even know. It was so like celebrity oriented and elitist, and like, you know, that they were gatekeeping the whole thing. Like, you know, that Tara Reid or Rose McGowan wouldn't be able to speak there. You know that like a victim of human trafficking wouldn't be able to speak there. You know that like someone, you know, that they wouldn't like dedicate an actual like portioned segment to talk about like the effects of something like sanctions on women, or, you know, maybe, or the crisis we have now with missing murdered indigenous women, or the crisis we have with like sex tourism affecting Haitian women and such. Like, no, none of that. Instead, it's, we need to keep this up. And then at one point they said this comment which really pissed me off. They were like, we are in the trenches. I'm like, what fucking trenches, dog? Like, where the hell were you all last year? Like, you want to talk about freaking like advocacy on behalf of the uterus, when me and several other protesters like took chemical weapons at the hands of freaking the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and had irregular and late periods because of it, as studies were coming out from Portland saying that. Like, where was that crowd then, huh? Where were y'all then? Oh, you weren't there because it was a controlled event, because it was like a music powwow to feel what, to get out once. It's like, oh, to me, like, women's liberation is not something so shallow. It's not something that you can encompass in one like celebrity filled event. It's like, you have to be able to see total liberation. It's like that picture you have with like the tall person and the average height person and the midget and the fence. And it's like equality would be giving them all the same box where the midget still can't see. equity would be like giving the midget extra boxes, extra boxes, while liberation would be removing the fence. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about removing the fence. These people are just talking about like giving you handouts and more, and well, not handouts. I don't mean that word that way, but like, you know, more boxes. It's like,
we need more sustainably built boxes. I say we go on a $75 trillion expenditure where we sustainably harvest some material to build better midget boxes. Now, because that's a sustainable material, they're not going to be as tall, but they are going to be locally sourced and ethically harvested. Does that help? It sounds like it helps. I've said this for years. I'm going to keep saying it until it sinks in. If your protest has corporate sponsors, it's not a protest, it's a parade.
That was the
and like, okay, cool. Who doesn't love a parade? But that's what you're doing. You're going to a parade.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Just yeah. I think I got out my rant on that. I can't think of anything else I'd like to say about it. I got out the gatekeeping. I got out my fence talk. I got out the.
Did you listen to Alyssa Milano? Did you have to sit through that?
I left by then because I'll tell you exactly what happened. So basically, at some point, it was like this one lawyer lady or Raven Simone speaking, I think, and I was like, it's so hot. And then that's when I said in our Twitter group, that's when I was like, that's when I sent the picture of the hot dog vendors, and I was like, oh, thank God. So I was just like hanging around there, and then as I was like waiting to get my food, like, you know, my saving grace comes by in the form of Eric with his ivermectin shirt, and I'm like, yes. I literally like yelled out loud, I'm like, yes, hey. And then he told me about this, whatchamacallit, this 9/11, this LA for 9/11 truth meeting that was happening at 1. So I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna make my way down there then. So
how was that?
That was good. Yeah, it was interesting because what the group is kind of trying to do now is really trying to capitalize on the current false flag taking place to really like push like a more push more like, I guess, how do I say, freedom oriented like actions and such, and it was just a good time to like network about that and stuff. And yeah, Ian from Another Worldview was there too. He was spitting facts.
Shout out to Ian in Another Worldview, probably over on the Rockfin.
And Eric for telling me about the meeting, because otherwise I might have been doomed. But yeah.
While we're waiting for Max, we got a couple of super rays. K.E. Christian, thank you very much. And Susan Mulan, I love y'all, and thank you for enduring that yesterday glory.
Thank you.
That's hilarious. That is. I mean, but look, dude, it's one thing. It's one thing to go and be a part of an event where you know that you're walking into, probable danger, right? And that's a mindset for a protest that you get into. There's another mindset that you get into when it's your event, and that element of danger is definitely there, but also it's your event, so there's a certain amount of extra responsibility and shit like that. And then when you're like, okay, I'm gonna go get some protest footage from the Pussy Hat March. You know, like it. Then it's a whole. Oh no, it's a lot like work. It is, and I commend you for that, Jones. I do. Do we have
Thank you.
any stories that we can do on YouTube? Any of those clips? Do you remember? I do want to bring this up. This is an article, and watch us get removed from YouTube for showing an article from 2017 that has absolutely nothing to do with the coronavirus. Let's see if that'll happen. This article out of Slate, and let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit, is called "It's Time to Give Up on Facts, or at least temporarily lay them down in favor of a more useful weapon, emotions." This is a real article in a real publication that a real person wrote. Seriously, this is not satire. Slate is not The Onion or The Bee. Several years ago, when my last name was different and my politics were less entrenched, I worked for a nonpartisan fact-checking site, analyzed falsehoods in political speeches and ads and email forwards. No, there won't be death panels. No, Sarah Palin didn't cut funding for special education. Yes, Obama was born in America. No, he wasn't in the video for Womb. There it is. I don't believe that. I don't. By trying to stem the tide of untruths, we were probably making everything worse. Repeating a falsehood, even as part of a meticulously researched article that debunks it, reinforces it. The human brain seems to experience fact-checking as a statement, followed by a bunch of Charlie Brown teacher noises. We knew this then. I can probably designate a Washington Post article about the lie repetition phenomenon as my first lol nothing matters moment 6 years later, before the phrase became a meme. In the years since the Post article, which discussed research stretching back to 1945, psychologists, linguists, and philosophers have continued to explore why and how our brains cling to lies. And all the while, those lie-loving brains have kept at it, allowing the stream of email rumors I dealt with a decade ago to metastasize into an entire fake news industry and eventually a White House that traffics in alternative facts. Now, all of us, not just the fact checkers, are faced with the challenge of trying to reckon a dubious alternate reality filled with fraudulent voters, pizza joint sex rings, and massacres in Bowling Green. As linguist George Lakoff was trying to tell us last month, the more we correct them, the more ingrained they get, and yet we're still trying to fact check our way out. It's never going to work. Facts are not the opposite of lies. Indeed, to defeat lies, we may have to temporarily, in a targeted way, give up on facts. This is a serious argument being put forth during the Trump administration that emotions and abandoning facts because facts aren't the opposite of lies. That I would like to get some reactions from you guys here real quick before I go back to that. Or not.
So I just had to unmute. So what about conviction? But like I see that and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? We can I think we can, work around that. I'm trying to look at this from a Hopi activist mindset. Like we can do that too, except because we have the facts on our side and we have passion and we have truth, then we have conviction, and that plays on people's emotions too. So yeah, but no, that's extremely worrying, and testament to the incredibly, how do I describe it? douche-tastic state of the media right now.
Yeah. This is I gotta come back to this article because of the just sheer I mean puffed up entitlement. It's insane. Um it's time for us to look for the everybody to the limit of political discourse, something that is able to crowd out the lie, something that can leave a blank slate. In other words, we need a lie reuptake inhibitor, a way to foil the operation of the lie by mimicking its effects. Figuring out how exactly to do that will be an ongoing process, and no matter what, you'll probably hate doing it. You'll hate it because we liberals tend to pride ourselves on caring about evidence, science, and accuracy. Being factually right, or at least grounded in reality, is something we value. Wow, something meaningful to our self-concept. We're going to avoid the worst effects of this administration's parade of whoppers, which is more important than defeating the whoppers themselves. That some of us sometimes are going to have to engage with voters and representatives who are mired in pernicious misinformation. Dude, the mentality there of my class of people is so intellectually and emotionally mature and advanced and superior that we can decide what is reality, what is truth, when it's appropriate to use it, and how it should be administered. And we're going to do that. We're going to encourage everyone to react emotionally, to abandon facts, and to, whenever we hear something we don't like, scream the opposite back at them. And blank slate, spike the football, we win.
I'm not gonna pretend like, I know, like, I fully know who or what the arbiter of truth should be. But what I do know is that it's not them.
Just the mindset that goes into that, and the I don't know if she was asked to write that, or if she just woke up one morning and was like, you know what's got to go. Facts are really fucking up our discourse, because my facts don't mesh with other people's facts, and it's almost like we're drawing from two entirely different sources and leaving entire swaths of evidence and opinions out in order to suit our own narratives and our own confirmations, our own for confirmation of our own biases. It's insane.
And not even in the good way. It's just like having a God complex.
Yeah, that's 100% ruler mentality. That's the authoritarian mindset that says you're only good enough to have so much information. And we've got to be careful about what you know, because you might use it in a way that we don't like, or that is out of our control, which is, I don't know, man. It doesn't match up to the marketing. That's what's crazy about the last several years. It's been a headlong confrontation with the marketing. You've never seen this evidence more than on January 6th when people invaded the halls of power. When they got through the halls of power, they stayed within the velvet ropes and they took selfies with the security forces, some of whom were shooting tear gas and rubber bullets at people on the other side of the building not 20 minutes earlier. Some of those same people waved in the quote unquote invaders. But when the invaders got there, they hung out, they took pictures, they stayed inside the lines because the marketing and the propaganda had told them that that's how they're supposed to behave when they go inside these places. And the couple of them that did run amok, they took some pictures too. I guess a couple of people like fucked up a bathroom. Like, that's, if you're ostensibly there to overthrow the government, and the best you can do is get an unarmed chick shot and get 300 of you arrested and brand new domestic terrorist charges with nearly 30 protected witnesses, with stories coming out almost weekly about how the FBI was running the entire operation, but haven't drawn the conclusion yet that this is a severe clash of marketing and reality. Wild. It's wild. You see it dissolve every time Joe Biden opens his mouth, or Kamala Harris opens her mouth, or AOC. I have no idea what happened to Jones, by the way. I hope she's coming back. We had a clip. Oh, okay. Internet crash. She'll be right back. We had a clip, and we will when Jones gets back up here, of I don't know, some of you guys may have seen it. It's Sandy in what appears to be one of Nancy Pelosi's pantsuits, trying to overly bullshit a crowd of supporters in front of the Capitol. And Cori Bush is standing right there to cheer her on. It's oh man. I don't normally go after somebody based on their voice. I really don't, especially, sounding like this. But Sandy has one of those voices that, like, I don't know, dude, they just make your skin crawl, because you know that she's just going to keep talking, and that pitch is never going to change. The only thing that's going to change is she's going to put on an accent to kind of pander to whoever the room is. But it makes you just want to give up and go away. Like, she's got to be great in committee when they're trying to make a point. They're like, we'll just have Sandy talk, and everyone will be in so much pain, they'll relent. Not necessarily works in Congress, but it definitely works with the constituents. They're like, holy crap, dude, whatever, lady, just stop. Yeah, we totally love you. We do. Didn't you say Rage Against the Machine was here? Don't they have some Pfizer products to push? Did you guys know that Fat Mike from NoFX is like a fully compliant punk rocker too? This is so disappointing, you guys. Trained theatric? I don't know about theatrics, Jilly. I think that, I'm not gonna argue that she's not an actress, but I think she's had media training. I don't know if she's necessarily, it's possible that she's had some fucking Hollywood emotion coach or something like that, or an acting coach come in. That's not out of the realm of reality. This is somebody who was, recruited from at least college. It's somebody who went to a like premier CIA training school at the College of International Relations at Boston College.
AOC.
Okay, maybe she's a bad actress. If she took drama in school, she's a bad actress. Nobody's buying that shit. How's your internet doing, Glory Jones?
Oh, it's doing better. I moved out of the sun because, LA has been hot as fuck. That's another thing that made covering the Women's March extra hard, was it was so fucking hot.
Okay, man. Charlie Brown's Rebellion. I just saw this. I'm gonna put it up on screen.
Don't say that. No.
If you've been with the show for any length of time, and I'm not.
Hold up, y'all. Steve isn't really the kind to have a trigger word, but if he did, Jello Biafra would be it, okay? And he's laughing because it's true.
Charlie Brown's Revenge. What I want you to do after the show today is I want you to go onto YouTube and I want you to type in what would Jello do or Jello Biafra and harm reduction. And you're going to see on your screen a thumbnail of Jello in his house in front of what appears to be like a stone hearth, right? And a little podcast set up in a black silk mask in his house, in like, I don't know, September, maybe October of last year, talking about, here's why you need to vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is harm reduction. Joe Biden, that's Jello. I fronted the dead Kennedys and wrote all of those songs by Biafra, masked up in his house with it. Like, I get it. You wear your merch, that's fine, but you're Jello Biafra. For Jello to be walking around, it's sad, because again, it's watching someone who, probably opened up an entire generation to a whole new school of thought in terms of what the government is, what the state is, what it represents, how it operates. Like the first time I ever saw Food Not Bombs outlet was at outfit was at a punk show. Like, it's all just that whole, to watch that whole scene sort of fold like wet cardboard into this just lump of shredded compliance. It is heartbreaking. It is. At this point, I would like to welcome to the show for the first time from a little outlet called The Gray Zone, Max Blumenthal, author of Management of Savagery, which is an excellent book. How are you doing? It's nice.
Pretty good. How are
nice
you?
to see you. Yeah, I ran into Max a couple of times at some of our Assange events in DC. He's been kind enough to show up and speak. Yeah, thank you. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. Just another day here in the swamp. And it's actually nicer out with less mosquitoes than usual, but still a lot of lobbyists on the street.
Yeah.
Very swampy.
Well, are they letting them back into restaurants? Because the last time when I was there, like, hardly anything was open still.
Oh, yeah,
none of the government buildings were operating.
Things are rocking and rolling in DC, and the restaurants that want to show that they're elite, or, it's sort of a virtue signaling thing in DC. They have huge signs out front that your vaccine passport is required, but there's no pass system in DC. which is interesting.
So how's that work? Do they literally have people outside who are checking for a card?
Yeah, it's just like any restaurant in New York. I was just up in New York City where it is required of every restaurant. And the restaurant employees are the private COVID police. And some of the employees like it more than others. I find those who tend to be, I mean,
Yeah.
I engaged as many people as I could about these issues when I was up in New York. And I found those who are like white and middle or upper middle class, they really are into enforcing these kinds of pass systems, and they believe medical misinformation that the unvaccinated will spread, that, you know, asymptomatic people who are unvaccinated will spread COVID at a higher rate than vaccinated people. So they're into it. But for the most part, a lot of more kind of like, you know, restaurant owners who don't have a Michelin star, they're worried about it. It's costing them business. Business is down at a lot of restaurants in the boroughs, you know, that where vaccination rate is lower. And there are a few restaurants in Bay Ridge in Brooklyn that are actually openly resisting with signs declaring that they will not enforce the pass. And there's this little snitch network there of like liberal bloggers who are putting them on this list of who refuses to obey the system and demanding the city crack down and crush their business.
They ought to be sent to re-education camp. I saw people, and we're gonna have to. You know what? Honestly, at this point, we should probably just go ahead and switch over to the Rockfin. We're just fresh.
Oh
back.
man, I'm
like
sorry.
today.
I didn't know we were on YouTube.
No. It's okay. It's okay. No, but we're fresh back from a week suspension on YouTube. They suspended us for a video
really
from last year. This is no. I mean, we have been going deep on this thing since day one, and have paid a significant price for it, along with a number of other people. So it's they're going to find whatever they want to find back in whatever videos remain, and they're going to go, you know what? We found another clip of you showing a government official in their official capacity in the building in which they work testifying under oath that you played, and that's medical misinformation. So we've got to yank your channel because those are the only things that we have ever gotten a channel strike for.
Yeah,
that's it. Clips of people testifying under oath. But
yeah, I mean, I could
go
be
ahead
saying,
and drop the Rockfin link. I'm going to drop
I could be
it
doing like
in
a
the
PSA.
YouTube chat.
I could be doing like a PSA for Fauci right now, and you could still get a strike if I used a V word. It's all algorithmic.
Yeah, which is funny because technically it isn't even you know, vaccine to begin with, considering the fact that, you know, it doesn't actually protect you from getting COVID. I mean, that's not like traditionally, you know, I'm just going to say it. Traditionally, vaccines are supposed to be able to immunize you completely from a disease or from like something like polio or meningitis. But no, that's not the case with the COVID shot. That's just, you know, experimental drugs that, because trials for those technically aren't even complete until 2023. So, yeah, it's pretty much an experimental drug that people take in hopes that it will protect them from COVID, because essentially that's what the prevailing narrative around that is at this moment. And I'm Glory, by the way. I'm Steve's co-host. I realize it doesn't say that on my thing.
I forgot about all that too. So I am. I dropped the Rockfin link into the YouTube chat. I'm going to kick us from YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, why? They censor us and they remove content.
Well,
you don't need an account to watch on the Rockfin. Just click the link. If you want to participate in the chat, you can make a free Rockfin account. If you like what we do, you can endorse the channel for $9.99 a month. It gives you access to all of the paywalled content on the network. It is a fantastic way to support content creators who have important things to say and can't say them here on YouTube. So we'll see you over there.